Hey guys, as you can see, I'm kind of still working out my backdrop and all that kind of stuff with this whole new channel reboot. But I figured today, with the release of Alien Covenant coming out in May, I would get started on reviewing the Alien franchise. So today we're going to kick things off with the first film in the franchise, Alien. Alien was originally released on June 22nd, 1979. It was again re-released in 2003 on October 29th. As a director's cut. I honestly don't know what the full differences between the two films are, but the version of the film that I watched for this review was the director's cut. The film was directed by Ridley Scott, and it stars Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt, and Ian Holm. So in Alien, we follow the crew of the Nostromo, a mining ship on its route back to Earth from its last expedition. The crew has been awakened from their deep sleep a little bit early, because they have been given a secondary task of responding to a distress call on an unknown planet. Once on the planet, they discover an unknown entity of sorts, and when they leave the planet, they unwittingly bring it upon the ship, and terror ensues. I find it really hard to talk about the plots of certain films that everybody has seen, because I don't know many people that haven't seen Alien, or at least know what it's about. So right off the bat, Alien has been considered one of the pinnacle sci-fi horror films. And not just horror films, but just sci-fi in general. Rewatching this film, I saw a lot of scenes that have been replicated or influenced modern film today. But let's talk about this movie as itself. Right off the bat, we are given exactly what kind of atmosphere to expect from this entire film, just from the opening credits. And the score and just the slow panning across space just really sets the atmosphere of what you're going to be getting yourself into. And just as a side note, the Blu-ray to this film, the Alien Anthology Blu-ray, looks gorgeous. This film looks really sharp on Blu-ray. I'm actually very surprised. I've seen a lot of older movies transferred back onto Blu-ray. This film is probably the best one that I've seen. Also complementing that, the cinematography itself is really gorgeous. The dark shadows, just the angles, everything about the cinematography just really works. It really sets the tension, really sets the fear. But at the same time, it sets the beauty of space travel, or the interest of space travel in the earlier scenes. Building on that cinematography aspect, this whole film is very atmospheric. The music, cinematography, the absence of sound, and the introduction of certain sounds at times work really well. The thing I have to give extra praise to this film, though, is that absence of sound really is different and jarring, especially watching it today after all of these modern horror films that have to use so much loud noise and bombastic scores to try and elevate the fear, when really the absence of sound makes it more chilling, more terrifying, because you don't know what happened. My favorite moment in this movie on a technical standpoint is the lack of sound during that facehugger attack. The facehugger strikes and it makes one quick sound, and then it cuts to the outside of the ship that they're on, and it's just silent, aside from the wind blowing outside. Very chilling. Speaking of chilling and tension and horror done right, I don't know how many times outside of watching the actual film I've seen that chestburster scene in other YouTube videos like top 10 videos or parodied or whatever, but actually watching the scene in the movie itself, still incredibly spine-tingling. My fists were clenched, my heart was racing, my blood was pumping, and like I said, I've seen that scene dozens of times. There's no big sounds, there's no big score, there's no horns, there's no strings, while he's writhing around with this thing pops out of his chest. It's all silent and just the sounds of them struggling to keep him down because they don't know what's going on, and then it just pops out. There's nothing! Now that's not to say that this film doesn't have a score. There is actually instrumental music provided. And it's not something that I would listen to, throw it on my iPod and, walk down the street to it. But putting it in the context of the movie, it really works. Continuing on my criticism of modern horror films compared to something from 1979, something that modern horror movies do when it first shows the creature, even if it's something in the background you're not supposed to know, they make a sound, they make a hint that, oh, it's there. The first time you see the alien, right before it strikes, it's hiding in the background. Now today, we know what it looks like, so we can point it out in the background when it comes on. But to people in 1979, it looked like just a piece of ship equipment in that scene. Another thing that I have to praise this movie for that modern movies lack is the practicality. Watching these older films makes me miss practicality. The fact that the alien was there completely, all the puppetry, the people in bodysuits, all of that stuff. I miss those days. I really do. I miss those days. It just adds to that realism and that overall creepy factor. There are a couple issues I do have with this film. Don't shoot me. I know it's held as a classic. I'm not disputing that, but there are a couple of gripes that I have personally with it. For starters, I didn't connect well with the characters. Unfortunately, despite how well the horror itself has been dealt with and the atmosphere, when you break this film down to its core principle, it still is a slasher film. And unfortunately, going in with that mindset, I wasn't able to connect to the characters as well as I would have hoped to, because as much as you want them to live and survive, you know that part of the horror comes from somebody dying. So you kind of have this at the back of your mind, you're probably going to die. So I found it really hard to connect with the characters themselves. The characters connecting with one another works fine. They have a great sense of camaraderie. You can sense that they've been working for quite a while together. They do have a decent rapport with each other. To an extent, there's a couple characters that don't really like each other, but the audience to character connection didn't really work for me. The other little nitpick that I would have to give this film is not so much a rewatching issue. If you rewatch it, you might not have this issue. But when I first saw this film, years ago was probably like 10 or 8 years ago, so not that long ago, I didn't like this film. I'm going to be honest. When I first saw Alien, I did not like it, because I saw Alien Resurrection before I saw Alien 1. So when I saw Alien Resurrection, it's a slasher film that's fast-paced and not really well done. So when I saw Alien, I was expecting another fast-paced action, everybody gets slashed by this monster. And what I experienced was a slow-burning, thriller, tension-driven horror film, which was not what I wanted at the time. So because of that, I really didn't like Alien when I first saw it. Rewatching it this time, however, knowing that it was a little bit slower, I was able to invest myself a little bit more into the atmosphere and the tension building. So that is one thing that I have to say to anybody that has seen the first Alien and went in with a expectation of it being a fast-paced horror movie. Give it another go, knowing that it's slower, and you might actually enjoy it a lot more this time. But those nitpicks aside, Alien is the pinnacle of sci-fi horror. I feel like this movie has set the standards for that genre, and I don't think anything has ever been able to accomplish what Alien itself has done. So those are my thoughts on Alien. Have you seen it? Are you planning on seeing it? Let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe if you yourself are jonesing for film.